memorandum of understanding with their security minister for the presence of U.S. troops.
U.S. base there, as well as a naval station and air station, jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from China. They used to have taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we got a very successful.
Their president, President Molino, sends his regards, very complimentary of the U.S. He's a great ally, and I think they want the Communist Chinese out. And with our troops there partnering with their forces, we've got a chance to push them all the way out.
We've moved a lot of troops to Panama and filled up some areas that we used to have. We didn't have any longer, but we have them now. And I think it's a very good to go.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So we have so many countries to talk to. It's incredible. I think Scott and I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now. And they've come with offers that they never, ever would have come with but for the moves that the president has made, demanding that people treat the United States with respect. We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals, one after the other. And then I'm very excited that within a week and a half we're going to start with the gold card and the Trump card. It's coming out, and we're very excited about that. And that's coming soon, so very excited.
Well, on a couple of fronts, we have been addressing the issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. Some grant funding and contract funding and some canceled and some investigation on the other side what my responsibilities are and having education go back to the States or being involved with governors. This week, all 50 commissioners of education around the country, and because we also want to provide them with tools and best practices as education has moved back to the States, making great progress, great response from the States, and very much.
Colleges, you're holding back $400 million. Imagine the money we pay off. $60 billion funding we give them. We're trying to figure that out, and then they hired de Blasio, the worst mayor in the history of New York, and they hired the woman from Chicago, who was a disaster, a total disaster, and they pay them massive salaries, and they're supposed to be teaching you government. That's not Harvard. That's not Harvard. Dollars you owe. What have you? Universities that were not behaving.
Yeah, and they're like Cornell papers that are coming in and actually getting calls now from the residents of universities.
Okay, Anthony, I'm now speaking into the microphone now. How does it sound on the live stream to you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. How does that sound to you, Anthony? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So I think we're good. Do you want to go ahead and go live on Rumble just to make sure the Rumble's okay? Okay. Copy. We're 5 minutes from starting the program.
I just learned one thing she's working on is any
Yes. Over here. Okay.
Yeah, we had a busy
Could we make sure that the empty seats are filled out before we start? I want to. Perfect. You got, I think, 2 over there as well. Sure. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
want to go starting there since we've seen.
Yeah, no worries. All good.
Try and do it like right through that.
And I can say a few words.
Yeah, and there's no flag in the room, so the flag will be on screen.
Okay, we are testing. We'll be starting our live stream from Lee County in about 5 minutes. We'll be starting our live stream from Lee County in about 5 minutes. How does that sound to you? How's it sounding out there to Rumble Land? People have got all kinds of signs here. We've got poster boards. Fantastic. And we're looking forward. It's a beautiful day here for a town hall meeting. There's no sound? One. Copy. Copy. How you doing? Good. Yeah, who are you with? Okay. You want to sit in that corner there? Does that work for you? Great.
Who are you with? How you doing? Bob.
Are you with Wayne? I'm with Fox Sport. With Fox Sport, right? That's even better, yeah.
Hi.
I emailed you, Raj.
Your name is?
I said Adele.
Adele.
All
right.
I sent an email to representative persons to contact you.
Thank you.
I was asked to do that by Ed.
Thank you.
Adele?
Advidal. Okay.
Adele asked me to.
Yes.
I CC'd you. I didn't blind copy you. I CC'd you.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, you did? You did do it. Oh, good. I'm glad I emailed.
Yes. Thank you, Adele. Thanks. Yeah.
I saw you last night. I was like,
Oh, okay, good. That was a great event.
wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just getting final things ready here. What's 19 minus 11? 8. 8. Okay. No, you can mention anything. You can talk about anything. Ask. I'll call on you. Encourage people to opt in by going to the website, and they can get the newsletter. Let them know about the newsletter. Good. How's the audio? How's the audio, Anthony?
Hi, good. How are you? Hi, how are you doing? I'm wonderful.
Anthony, can you hear me?
I wasn't sure where I was going.
Hey, Anthony, can you hear me? Okay, so we're good across the board? All right, great, fantastic. We'll keep, right now you can see the cabinet meeting and you can probably hear my audio. So, perfect. Got it. All right, I'll hang up on the phone now. Stand by. For those of you watching on the live stream, we're here at the town hall meeting in Lee County, and we'll be starting in just a few moments. We've got the cabinet meeting from that Trump just held a few days ago on the screen while we're waiting for you on the live stream. So stand by. So John, what we'll do now, John, is I'm going to cut the feed from the cabinet meeting, and let's just go to camera number 2, and we'll go live in about 2 or 3 minutes. So let's go to camera 2. So that's what the people on the live stream will hear. For those of you who are joining, we're going to be starting in just a few minutes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we're here in beautiful Lee County. It's a beautiful day. The only thing I wish we were doing differently is I wish we were having this meeting outside. Because it's gorgeous out there. I am, yeah. Vitamin D. Debbie's got me on a vitamin D program here. All right, so we'll be starting in just a few minutes.
Can I ask everybody to, I'm taking pictures for the newsletter, hold the signs up, because I don't want to do it during the program. Hold up your signs and let's do it.
So I'll give the mic. He wants us to hold it right about here. We're going to hand the mic over to you in just a moment, and then you can get things. Copy that. I am. Yeah. I see. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was the second one.
Really? Thank you for.
And I was up in Tampa.
Oh yes, for that event.
Right. So
What a great and it's Susan Moyer. Okay, Susan. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Okay. You're live here. John, I think we're going to start in about 30 seconds. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Bob, and he'll get things started. And he has got his feed going into the PowerPoint, so I think you're in good shape. Yes, sir. All right, folks on the live stream, thanks for your patience. We're going to get started here. I'm going to give the microphone over to Bob Valenti.
Sure, welcome. Go ahead and grab a seat. We're just trying to keep this corner clear for the cameras, so yeah. We're going to give it 30 seconds more to let them come in. Debbie, grab the door, if that's all that's... Yeah, but she'll close it behind herself. Excellent, thank you. Okay, let's get this party started. First, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm sure you had a million things to do on a Sunday afternoon, but this is important. So I'm just going to briefly tell you how we do things at the Assembly. We're going to have an invocation prayer. I've picked a few verses that I think are pertinent to politics and to elections and representatives. Then we have a moment of silence on the screen, and if we pray hard enough, we can turn the what do you call them, shots, the jabs, into the cross of Christ, so that He can take it off of our shoulders. Okay, so we'll be holding a moment of silence for the victims of the bioweapon jab. Then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ken, you're going to lead us in that, and then we do a recognition of entrepreneurs and business owners. Nothing against the elected officials, but they get all the recognition at all the clubs. We do the entrepreneurs, the guys that built America, you know. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Doge, we're all familiar with Doge. Here, Doge stands for decimation of God's enemies. The Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2, the heart of the wise inclines to things. A lot of us Republicans like to use that one. Psalms 22:28, for dominion belongs to the Lord, and He rules over the nations. Sorry. Exodus 18, verse 19 and 21. Listen now to me, and I will give you some advice, and may God be with you. You must be the people's representative before God, and bring their disputes to Him. But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Matthew chapter 9, verse 37 and 38. Then He said to His disciples, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into His harvest field, which He has done today. You guys are the few workers, and we know what the harvest field is. We have a lot of work to do in the legislature. It ends on May 2nd, so it's only, 3 weeks away, and there's a lot to be done. But we'll get into that after Raj does his presentation. All right. With that, let's hold a moment of silence. Thank you. Ken? We'll have to use the screen as the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then, anybody who has been, America was founded on an entrepreneurial spirit, not bureaucratic red tape. If you currently or have ever owned a business, or even if you were in management responsible for creating jobs and lending to that entrepreneurial mindset, please stand to be recognized. Thank you. With that, I'm going to introduce Raj Dorsami from Defense Florida, who has his own presentation, and he'll take the rest of the meeting until I'm going to wrap up with a project that we're trying to work on. It's not really through the assembly, but through a lot of organizations working together.
Thank you, Bob. Let me just check my settings, make sure I show the right thing on the right screen. Okay, that's music. Exciting music coming from somewhere here. Is there a phone that's ringing over there? Someone's got a phone. I like it. I like it. It's good. It's got a good rhythm. All right.
Oh yeah, and everybody mute all your cell phones.
Okay, so for the people watching on this live stream, that was not part of the program. That was just some exciting filler music. We planned it. Okay, no update. That was actually part of our plan. Okay, good. All right, let me put this on the right screen. And one moment. So we want to thank Stern American for live streaming this for us. Thank you for doing that. And to all our streaming partners, thank you for doing that. You can get the replay for this again at sternamerican.com. If you go to sternamerican.com and click on the Rumble channel, you can get the replay there. You can also, we'll probably also get the replay on Lee Republican. Yeah, Lee Republican.
It'll be on our homepage, and it'll be on our election integrity page.
Okay. And also on defendflorida.com as well. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. See, I try not to travel anywhere without Debbie Miller. And you should all be grateful that she's here to keep me straight. So defendflorida.org was also where we will have that information. Please come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So to get things started here, the purpose of this conversation that we're having today is really to talk about a bill that's flying through the legislation. Oh, I also want to acknowledge, before I actually get started, pardon me, I'm going to pause for just a minute. I wanted to get Debbie Miller and Mick Peters to say a few words. If you'd like to do that, we'll start with Debbie Miller. And she's going to make a brief announcement. And Mick, if you'd like to say anything that you'd like to say, sure. Okay, great. So we would not be here as your guests without the hard work of Bob Valenti and Mick Peters. So we really want to thank you for that.
Okay, everybody. How in the world did I get here? A couple years ago, I decided to be a precinct committee person, and I went to the training, and this guy was sitting next to me, and I looked at him. I said, "I've been on your Zoom calls on Tuesdays," and so that started our relationship. And I want to encourage you to go to www.defendflorida.org on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We have great guests on there. We do strategy. The next thing I know, I'm going to Tallahassee, I'm writing the newsletter, but I was tired of sitting around at home and frustrated, talking to my friends, and all we do is complain. I wanted to do something. And so we're asking for new volunteers with Defend Florida. We're all over the state. Our Zoom calls reach all the way to California. We have people in Georgia on our Zoom calls. So I've learned so much, and I've met the neatest people. Everybody from different backgrounds. Everybody's got a met and everything that I'm learning and doing. So please join us on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on Defend Florida website. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Oh, stand over here, Aisha. Michael, Mick, Peters, everybody knows me, hopefully. If you don't, consider yourself blessed. I got involved in election integrity right after the Ozo event we had called the 2000 election. I was protesting and basically fighting to make sure a guy by the name of Al Gore didn't become our president. Two and a half years ago, a couple of people in this room turned me on to this guy, and I just started popping in at meetings. And then they started asking, who is this guy? I've been tracking the lack of election integrity that this state has for going on 25 years now. And it's awful. And we're getting worse. And our governor and others say we're the gold standard of the nation. I say either A, that's fool's gold, or the rest of the nation is in really bad shape. We have found other people doing the work, me being able to take advantage of the research that they did. We've found tens of thousands of illegal aliens already on the voter registration rolls that have voted anywhere between 5 and 10 times. We've found dead people who have voted. Now, there's only one way that's happening, and nobody ever wants to broach it because it involves family members. They're still getting their absentee, now vote-by-mail ballots. And the biggest problem we have, per Jimmy Carter in 2005, is what was being called absentee balloting then. Vote by mail is where 75% roughly of all the people in the state of Florida who technically aren't in the state of Florida are voting. Our elections are being tipped by people in 49 other states and 148 other countries, per the supervisors of elections union that they have now. And they love vote by mail because there's absolutely minimal restrictions, minimal controls, and minimal monitoring. It's very easy, and government bureaucrats love easy. I ran for supervisor of elections in this county because I hate the people doing the easy stuff. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. I'd also encourage you, if this is your first time here and you're not aware of the Republican Assembly, please make sure you come to this table here before you leave. There's all kinds of very good information. You have to be involved. You have to be involved, and the Republican Assembly is a group right here in York County. They're the reason we have been able to come here and get this facility. Thank you, Doris, for this facility. Where you are, I can't see where you are, but I know you're in the building here, so thank you for that. So please make sure you go to that table. All right. Now, why are we here today? In the state of Florida, there is a bill. The bill is called HB 1381. There were several bills, and for those of you that are new, that are watching on the live stream potentially, when I say a bill, what that means is the way the election process is managed in your state of Florida, our state, and wherever you might be watching this from here on the live stream, there are statutes, rules, if you will, procedures, if you will. And these statutes are simply documents, and the way these documents get changed is your legislators, who you elect, will go to your state capital. They'll come up with ideas on how to change the way your state is run. Sometimes those changes are good, sometimes those changes are bad. Those changes are written in a document called a draft, and then once a draft is approved, it will be rewritten in a format called bill, ready for bill. Ready for bill. Again, it's just simply a document. These terms, just think of these terms as documents that you're all familiar with, written in a particular format. Once it's ready for a bill, then we need a legislator to sponsor it. That's the next step. So the legislator must sponsor it. The people in the state of Florida did that. They worked very hard. They worked with many, many legislators, and they got 5 bills sponsored. These bills are all good. We'll talk a little bit about why those bills were sponsored, what the need was for them, and so on during the course of our time today here. The next step, however, is once a bill has been sponsored, it has to be assigned to a committee. Now, a different legislator often is responsible for assigning the bill to a committee. So let's just say you, the folks here in Lee County, had an idea. You worked with your legislator. You got them to write the document. The document was then put in a bill format. That bill format was then adopted as a bill. And then your legislator that you worked with, they now have to wait for another legislator, a committee chairperson, to put that bill on the agenda for discussion. The reason I'm stressing that is if your bill that you wanted, that you got someone to sponsor, that you got everyone behind you, petitions, you worked hard, you door knocked, you did all those things. If your bill doesn't get put on the agenda for a committee, your bill is dead. Exactly. For the live streaming audience, they just said it's dead. So this is a very informed audience. I'm doing all this mainly for the potential newbies that are watching this online, like I was a newbie just a few years ago. So, in our case, none of the bills that the people wrote got sponsored, got put on the agenda. So the first thing I want to point out is the reason for that is that in every state there is a legislator called the Speaker of the House. There's another legislator called the Senate President. In the Senate, in the state of Florida, the Speaker of the House is Speaker Perez, and the Senate President is President Alberton. Okay, thank you. So those two men, it shouldn't be this way, but they have dictatorial power. And that's the point that I want to convey to you and everyone watching. They have dictatorial power. Why do I say that? Because even if everyone in Lee County wanted a change made, and you got your legislator to back you up and sponsor it, if those two men say, I don't feel like we need to have that bill go any further, they will put the word out, and that bill will not be put on an agenda, on a committee agenda. That's what happened to the 5 bills that were written and sponsored. One other comment I want to make is if they do give the okay, the blessing, if you will, it's so frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me because in this state, in this country, you, my friends, have a voice. I say you, I'm in Lee County, I'm your guest, but same thing for Sarasota. We have a voice. We work hard to elect the best legislator we can. We put that legislator in office, and then some other person has this dictatorial power to override your elected official. This is a thing that frustrates me to no end. Nonetheless, that's the way it is, and until we get a whole new bench of leaders in place, this is the cards we're dealt with. If they give the blessing for your bill to be put on the agenda, then the chairperson, yet another legislator, has to put it on the agenda. Once it's on the agenda, your bill can move forward. What do I mean by that? The committees that I described earlier will schedule a meeting, and this part is beautiful, by the way. They'll schedule a meeting. They'll let the entire public know by putting it on the website. Everyone can go to the website for the House, Florida House, the Florida Senate, and whatever state you're watching this from. You can see what's on the agenda. You can see what time the meeting will be. You can see what's going to be discussed. And at that point, you can call legislators and say, listen, the bill that I want is on your agenda for your committee meeting. And I can see from the website that you're meeting on Thursday at 8 a.m. I really want you to give this bill your favorable consideration, or some version like that. You can call the legislators, and this is how we the people work. So you can call, and if you are effective in calling, and if you persuade legislators to look at things in your favor, when this bill is in committee, because of your work to persuade the legislators to look at your bill favorably, your bill may get passed to go to the next committee. Does that make sense? It's a good process. It really is a good process because it allows people like us to be involved at a very molecular level in the way things happen. Now, where things go wrong is people today are still like how I was 5 years ago. We're too busy, we're not interested, we think someone else will do it, we don't call a legislator, we don't know what's being discussed, we have no idea, we're clueless, and then all of a sudden we hear this crazy, crazy law passed, and then we're all complaining, like Debbie said earlier. So, purpose of this meeting here, and why I went through all of that time to share that, is in addition to the objective we have of this meeting, I would really like for you to share with your friends how this process works, and you, my friends, have got to get more people to be we the people, because that's how our government works. Okay, so having said all of that, let's get back to the topic for this meeting, which is HB 1381. As you can see here, HB 1381 is affecting the way our legislation process works, and specifically, why it's become extra important is that the President of the United States of America signed an executive order. And in this order, he laid out a lot of important, good things. We're so grateful. Oh my God, I could almost cry. If the other person was in the office now, I'm cringing. I am just cringing. But thank God, you and I went to work last year and we did what we needed to do to make that happen. And he is just, yes, that is so, woo. So the reason I pointed the President's executive order out is that the bill we're talking about, 1381, the supporters, and by the way, we did not write that bill. The bills we wrote got squashed, as I mentioned earlier before. So this is the only bill on elections that's been allowed to go forward so far. So we need to look at this bill, right? Makes sense, right? So on this bill, the proponents of this bill, and this is really important for everyone to get this, the proponents of this, the legislators, are saying that 1381 fully responds to what he asked for. And that is what we're going to get into today. So during this, I'm so glad, in fact, during this is a town hall meeting, not a presentation. So anytime you see something or hear something you like, we want everyone on the live stream to hear about it. By you being vocal, you can yell, throw things, whatever you want to do, okay? And if you hear something that you don't like, be vocal about that too. However way you want to express yourself, we need the signs. We've got a camera here. We know that the legislators are going to be watching this recording. We thank the press for being here from Fox 4. Thank you for being here. So we want... The Cape Coral Breeze is also here. Thank you, Cape Coral Breeze, for being here. We appreciate you. Thank you. So the public need to hear from you because we the people. So wave your signs and make sure that your voice is not just heard but seen through these signs. All right, so let's get into it. So I mentioned earlier that the supporters of this bill are saying that this bill meets the requirements of HB 1381. And meets the requirements of the President's executive order. So what we're going to do now is we're going to tackle that so we can deal with the facts. And I've got on the screen the defendflorida.org website. So on this website, for those who are watching, you can go and watch this later, defendflorida.org. On this website is a list of everything that the President asked for in his executive order on the left side over here. Okay? On the column next to that is HB 1381, and if it's in red, that means 1381 fails to support President Trump's executive order. If it is green, it means 1381 supports President Trump's executive order. Does that make sense? pretty clear, right? Okay. This is the first page. There are 3 pictures. I'm scrolling here. Here's the second page. You can see how many times it says fail, fail, red, red, fail, fail, fail. The reason why this town hall meeting is important is because many legislators who are well-meaning don't read the bill completely. Instead, for those who have been to Tallahassee, who in the legislator's office are actually reading the bill? The aides. Okay. These young, brilliant, smart people, kids, someone said kids, okay, are reading the bill, which is great. I'm glad they're reading the bill. But the important thing is the legislator is not reading the bill entirely correctly. So that is a reason why a legislator will look at you in the eye and say 1381 fully responds, because they haven't read it at the level that they need to read it. You heard Obama say when he did the health care, he said, we're going to pass the bill so the legislators can then read it. This is happening in Florida as well. So go to defendflorida.org for a detailed view of that. For now, let me go back to the PowerPoint, and I'm going to just stick with some big picture items. And this is where you guys can get vocal with your signs. All right, first thing. I can't even believe this. Okay. So the president was clear. The president said we want less machines and more manual actions at the election process. Why? What? Did he say that?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think he said that? Transparency, less propensity for cheating, better ability to audit. The machines are flawed. So you can tell that there's very low confidence by voters with regard to the machines. This is just there. In fact, 3 days ago, the president had a cabinet meeting, and Secretary did everyone hear the comments from Secretary Tulsi? Okay. What did she say?
2020 was stolen. The machines could be hacked.
The secretary at the cabinet meeting, this is not some conservative writer, this is not the Gateway pundit, this is not Steve Bannon, this is not any of these podcasters. The secretary said
the machines are vulnerable to hacking.
The machines are vulnerable to hacking.
And she's a former Democrat.
And she's also a former Democrat. So this is being discussed now at the cabinet level, and the reason I stress that is 1381 will literally almost double the machines used in Florida's elections. No. What do you guys think about that? Oh, you guys, I see your sign. I'm going to have to prop you guys. Let's see the signs come up. So for those of you that are watching on a live stream, I want to make sure that you are seeing what you are seeing here on the screen. This is not just me speaking. This is literally the camera's right here. Oh, turn your signs around. Oh, you got 2 sides on your sign? Okay. All right, keep it the way you had. So going back to this presentation, this bill's literally doubling the number of machines being used. If that's not bad enough, there is provisions right now in the Florida statutes that require a manual audit. That process has been killed. Can you believe that? In addition to this process being killed, the current statutes allows for election officials to refer to the actual paper ballot when there's a discrepancy. They are no longer allowed to do that if this bill passes.
Corruption.
Why would they do that?
They're cheating.
Why would a bill take something that's already in place and remove it?
It's all about the primary. They want to rig the Republican primary and the Democrat primary.
So for those who are watching, one lady here said that this is because they want to manipulate the primaries. This gentleman said
They're cheating.
they're cheating, all of them, Republicans and Democrats. This lady said it's called the election RICO mafia. The folks here in this town hall meeting are quite clear and they're quite upset. This is not something casual for them. So, but this is what that bill is doing. Make no mistake. So, who, if you are reducing the number of manual steps, if you're putting more machines in place, and you, the people, are unhappy with that, you feel you're not benefiting from that, then ask yourself, who is a beneficiary of this bill? The politician, someone saying? The incumbent, the incumbent, someone is saying? The developer, someone is saying? The companies that make the machines and the companies that make the software. Let's hover on the company that makes the machines. Does anyone know which software vendor this bill mandates the state of Florida to purchase from? It's Clear Ballot. Now, do we have anything against a private company? Not necessarily, but if this bill that's going to be passed into law is requiring every county to purchase a system from a vendor, then one vendor, someone points out, does that appear to be reasonable? Absolutely not. It's not transparent.
It's not like the government is purchasing that and they own that because they purchased it from that private company. That private company is still in control of the system. We're leasing. We're a client. They still run that.
So this gentleman is saying that it's worse than actually them purchasing it. This gentleman says that the vendor is still running the equipment, the software, and the state is almost leasing the service. And the reason why this gentleman says that is because that is actually what's currently in place with the existing vendors. So you may remember in the last primary, the state of Florida had a massive debacle with the vendor that handled the website. And when the Secretary of State was asked, how did the entire election system website for the many counties go down, did you remember what he said? This Secretary Corbett, he said, I don't know. I've called the vendor. I'm waiting to be informed by the vendor. Can you believe this level of incompetence in the most important part of our state's process? Our senior official doesn't understand or know the operations of the website. He's at the beck and call of a private vendor to get back to him. We did not elect the vendor. We did not authorize our tax dollars to be under the control of vendor. We have a government that's responsible for that. So I digress. It's your fault because you got me on that. Okay? Let's get back to the business. Yes?
Clear Ballot. What they are producing is scanned ballot images. What is the problem with scanned ballot images versus a tangible piece of paper?
You tell me. What is the problem?
A folded document for every vote by mail ballot. And you can't determine that with a scanned ballot image that you're looking at.
So you can tell we have a lot of people in this town hall that are quite informed, and what the gentleman just pointed out for those on the live stream is saying that because this bill prohibits, in the event of a discrepancy, the officials from interacting with the paper ballot, and instead requires them to only interact with the picture of the ballot, there is no longer the level of confidence that anyone can have that that picture was actually the legitimate representation of a Florida citizen. And this is why Secretary Tulsi said that the election systems are vulnerable to hacking. This is not hearsay. So we will keep going. So is this just, I just feel a little sick here having spent all that time. It's just so sickening because of the ignorance of our legislators in many instances for saying that this bill supports the president's directives. Can anyone in this room see that where this bill is strengthening our election process? It's weakening. This gentleman says that it's not ignorance. They're in on the fraud. This gentleman just said that. And there's a lot of people here nodding. So, all right, let's cover a couple of other things as well, because there's more. I should take, what are those things that you take when you have a stomach upset? I should take that before these speeches. I should just do that ahead of time, okay? So, I want to go to the fourth column here, and this column here, when we had our last town hall meeting, showed that I'll read it for those of you who can't see. This column here says, it's talking about citizenship verification. So in the previous version of this bill, there was inadequate verification measures on whether or not someone applying to register to vote is a U.S. citizen. And you can see the signs right here, specifically on the U.S. citizens. Go and put your signs up there so the people on live stream can see that. So U.S. citizenship, restricting voting to only U.S. citizens is a no-brainer. It's very important, and everyone is on board with that. This bill did not have that language before, but we want to thank Representative Jenna Persons-Mullica for an amendment to her bill. She, by the way, is a sponsor of the bill, 1381. We want to thank her for an amendment to the bill, and the bill now has stronger language for people who want to register to vote in person. So thank you, Representative Mullica, for that change. And we want to thank, again, the Mick Peters and Bob Valente for facilitating that conversation with your representative, Representative Jenna Persons-Mullica, a very smart legislator. Now, we're still talking about this because the same language that was extended to make sure that non-U.S. citizens who try to register to vote in person are blocked, that language is missing for those people. It's also missing for those people who want to register to vote from overseas. Is that acceptable to you? So you can see the signs right there. Amend HB 1381, fix the vote by mail citizen loophole. I see another sign there. If you need ID to drive, you should need proof to vote. I see another sign, only U.S. citizens should vote. Amend HB 1381 to make it the law. Another sign over here. Let me read that. Certain the blue shirt there. Only U.S. citizens should vote. Amend HB 1381, make it law. In the back, no citizen check, no conference in our elections. No citizen check, no conference in our elections. No proof of mail, no proof of citizenship to vote by mail. Amend 1381 now. No to loopholes. It is quite clear that everyone in this town hall, let me read that other one there. Vote by mail fraud is real. HB 1381 should fight it, not ignore it. So this is quite real to the people. So simply, are we being unreasonable in this ask? No. All we're asking is that the same controls you've issued to people registered to vote in person, extend it to people who are registered to vote by mail or from overseas. This is not a big ask. Now, I'm going to, yes?
Military vote. New pilot is one thing, but what about our, armed forces? What's the second section there to make sure that they're able to vote, but also to provide?
That's the reason.
So the question, thank you for the question. The question here is relative to the U.S. citizens that are in the armed services, that are overseas, and this lady is wanting to make sure that those U.S. citizens are not impeded in their opportunity to register to vote. And we have a lady with a hand up. Yes?
Yes, when I was stationed in Korea, the absentee vote, you have to have a captain verify you. You have to go through checks and balances. Everything is legal. It is the safest, most secure way to do it. They don't do that now here with vote by mail. There's a difference between absentee ballot overseas and vote by mail.
So thank you for the...
But your captain knew what gender he was.
So the comment being made here, this guy is going to get me off topic in a heartbeat. And I'm that easy. I am that easy to get off topic. So to summarize the two comments here, there has always been a robust mechanism that's always been there. None of that has been taken away. However, I think the reason the First Lady spoke is because that mechanism no longer has the robust rigor about it and currently can be exploited by having non-U.S. citizens overseas registered to vote. So the bottom line is we're simply asking, and we've even provided the language, by the way. The language to address this has already been provided, written up, and has been sponsored by legislators. We just got shut down. So all Representative Malika would need to do, if she so chooses, is take the language that has already been put in the right format, that already has legislative support, copy it and paste it in her bill so that this loophole is resolved. Remember, Representative Malika, amend HB 1381, fix the vote by mail citizen loophole. I'm just reading a sign right there. Thank you. So, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Now, while we're talking about this, we earlier talked about and we speculated who is benefiting from these changes. And to summarize, we heard a lot of things. The deep state, the incumbents, the software vendors, the hardware vendors, the lobbyists. There was one group that was not mentioned, and this is an appropriate time to bring that.
Legislators themselves.
The legislators themselves. Someone is saying that here as well. Who? The candidates themselves, someone is saying that. So, those who want to stay in, oh boy, this is a hot topic. Those who want to stay in power benefit from this. The Democrats. So these are what this town hall meeting is saying as beneficiaries of this bill if it passes in its current state. There is one other entity that I want to draw to your attention. So in the state of Florida, let me just think this thing through here. I think I'll put this on the screen here. Yes. So I'm just looking for. I have the comments here. I just want to have the visuals. So while I'm talking, in the state of Florida, as in every other state in the United States, you have an official that is in charge of your elections, and that's the way it should be. In the state of Florida, that official is called the supervisor of election. In your state, it might be a completely different official, a commissioner, etc., etc. They have different names for all of these things. And so, in our state, the supervisor of elections are all constitutional officers. They have been elected by the people within that particular county, and that is how it should be done. In the state of Florida, those people have got what we call a trade union. I don't know what else we can call it. It's a trade union, and this trade union elects a board. And this board, 5 members, 10 members, etc., this board ends up determining the policy for this trade union. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is this trade union in the state of Florida is called the Florida Supervisor of Election, otherwise called FSE. And in Florida, the FSE has been lobbying. Again, it may not be your supervisor of election. Your supervisor of election, who you elected, might be a phenomenal individual, or may not be. It depends. I don't know. Okay, I'm about... All right, so you have your work cut out for you next elections. So, our Sarasota, we are blessed in Sarasota. We have an excellent supervisor election there. But the point I'm mentioning here is this: the supervisor election, they got together 67 of them in our state because there are 67 counties. They elected a board of 10 members, and these 10 members have now hired a lobbyist. Yeah. The name of this lobbyist is Mr. David Ramba. Mr. David Ramba is one of the most powerful lobbyists in the state of Florida. Now, We do not begrudge his influence. I see a sign there that says, do not bow to lobbyists. So we're going to get into this in just a moment. We do not begrudge Mr. Ramba's success as a lobbyist. He is doing the job that his clients pay him to do. The reason we're bringing it up here, in light of what you see on the screen, is those 10 board members that I mentioned earlier, 10 in the entire state, have hired Mr. Ramba as the executive. In a real way, this lobbyist now controls the entire community of supervisors of elections.
Rico Mafia.
This is why that lady probably said Rico Mafia. This is disappears. Wait, is this transparent from your perspective? He's unelected by the people. That's what this lady here says. The reason I bring that up is if you look at this bill, and you can see that the bill is replacing manual work with computer work. It's replacing the necessity to look at paper ballots with pictures. Does this automation, this increased use of technology instead of using manpower, does that make the work of the supervisors of elections easier or?
Easier.
They're not doing the time if the machines are going to do all the work. What do we need them for? We can eliminate it.
Software companies doing the work.
So this.
Need somebody to collect the paychecks.
So this lady here says that if by using all the machines, what is the job now of the employees that our taxpayers are actually funding? And another.
Maintain the machines.
This gentleman says that now their job is relegated to maintaining the machines, which actually is not true because the vendor continues to maintain the machines. So we believe in analyzing this bill that the other beneficiary of this bill are those 10 board members who want to make life easier for the supervisors of election staff.
Where does the money come from?
What is that?
Where does all that come from?
Where does the money come from? The money's coming from you and I, taxpayer. Another lady is asking, why are we paying for this automation if it's not benefiting us? So, this move, this bill, what is that? This bill, if it's not benefiting you, from what you said before, it's benefiting the vendor, the software company, the deep state, the incumbents, the people who want to control the primaries, and it's benefiting the Florida Supervisors of Elections Trade Union. So, given all of this knowledge, it is important that your Representative Jenna Person-Mullica, is absolutely clear that the bill in its current form must not go through. What is your comment on that? Let's see your signs over there. So, Representative Mullica, we are asking, and the people here in your county, in Lee County, you can see this here, they are asking that the Bill 1381 must be amended, and the way it needs to be amended, you can see that right here on these forms. Go ahead and hold your signs up there again, please. We want to make sure, and you want to make sure your signs are facing me, because that's where our camera is. Please make sure that that bill is amended in that format.
Represent your people, not the machines.
One lady says, please represent your people, not the machines.
Yeah.
Or the lobbyists.
Yeah.
We don't need lobbyists and we don't need machines. Remember, this is not just the people in Lee County saying this. This is the President of the United States of America explicitly demanding this. So, representatives in the state of Florida, this is a demarcation point in the line. Are you going to align with what President Trump has put very clearly, or are you going to oppose it in favor of David Ramba, in favor of the incumbents, in favor of the deep state?
No.
This lady is reminding everyone that President Trump is also a resident of the state of Florida, and this also affects him. Before we... yes, ma'am.
Has anybody followed the money of Clear Ballot and where it leads to?
Eventually, Venezuela.
The question that was asked is, has anyone followed the money that we, the taxpayer, will be paying Clear Ballot through this bill, and where does that money lead to? And a gentleman here responded, eventually Venezuela. There's one thing that we know for sure, that the money sent to the vendor, from what you have said, does not benefit the people of Lee County. The question is, does Clear Ballot also control the entire state's voter rolls out of Tallahassee? I'm inferring that the reason you're asking the question is because you are uncertain as to whether or not your elected officials are managing the Florida election process, or is a private vendor. And in terms of private vendors, we've talked about Clear Ballot, we've talked about VR systems, we've talked about many, many companies, and from the Secretary of State's comments himself, out of his own mouth, when the problem happened in the primaries, from what he said, in fact, he was not in charge of the technology. He was waiting for a call back from his contact at the private company. Is that acceptable? No. And this is where we find ourselves.
One more thing that's really important on the Clear Ballot and VR systems. They are private companies. They do not have to respond to public record protection requests.
Yeah, and they don't.
So I want to so for those of you who didn't hear, the gentleman here is pointing out that these private companies, these companies are private, they are private companies, and they are not obligated to respond to our public records requests. And he's pointing out the complete lack of transparency in that, and why it's relevant here is this bill is going to increase that opaqueness, increase that what could be called collusion, and it's not acceptable.
No. Not acceptable.
Before we end our comments tonight here, we're going to put on the screen here a few of the changes that the people are asking for of Representative Jenna Persons-Mullica. This document has been provided to her. She has said on a phone call that we had with her, we're very grateful to Representative Mullica for giving us the opportunity to speak with her and share these documents. What's absolutely imperative now is that the comments she made on that phone call be followed through. We are no longer in a position where we are satisfied with politicians who give us lip service and actions completely oppose what they said. So we're grateful, Representative Mullica, for you accepting these, and as you said, you wanted an opportunity, and we commend you for that, in doing your own due diligence, in referring to the statutes, so you can form your own conclusion on the merit of these changes. We have already done that. We have looked at the statute. We have spent 3 years on this. These recommendations are solid, and you can take that to the bank, ma'am. So we are fully expecting favorable responses from you on some of these changes for the reasons I just mentioned. None of these, are any of these unreasonable? No. Are any of these going to cost billions of dollars? No. Are any of these going to disenfranchise any U.S. citizen? No. Is this making things difficult for people to vote? No. I saw a sign earlier there. If you need proof of ID to do stuff, why not have proof of ID here? Representative Mullica, please amend HB 1381, fix the vote-by-mail citizen loophole. This lady keeps putting that sign up the entire meeting. I cannot ignore her. So, For those of you who can't read the screen because of the font, the first change we're looking for, verify that new registrations applicants are U.S. citizens. We want to close additional voter registration loopholes. This is there. The statutes have been provided. The text has been provided. That's one idea here on what you can see. I'm reading the green stuff here. Require poll workers to look for non-U.S. citizen designation at polls. Remove non-U.S. citizens currently on the voter rolls. Do a quarterly list maintenance using the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle, DCF, Department of Children and Family Reports, with due process for removal. Does this seem reasonable to you?
Yes.
Is this something you can expect from your government?
Yes.
Is this something you can or should expect from the government? Yes. These guys are keeping me on my toes here. They're watching every word I say. That's what you should do with your legislators. Very good. That's right. Extend poll worker elector requirements to vote by mail processes. So we haven't talked about this, and we're going to touch on this before we wind this meeting down here. So, again, this is all about reasonableness, right? Well, it doesn't have to be, but we are literally, intentionally trying very hard to be reasonable in what we're asking for our legislators. Common sense. Someone said common sense there. Yes, yes, sir. Trump is saying common sense, and
Nothing common about common sense.
the president made it absolutely clear that he does not want foreign influence on the election process.
Yeah.
Did everyone hear that loud and clear from the president? So, in this bill, there's language in there to prevent a non-U.S. citizen from working the polls at the precinct. Right. We like that. Do we like that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, why are we talking about it? Again, you got to. These bills are written by lawyers, and they will give you a sentence that you like, and then you'll think, good, they're taken care of. And then a couple of lines down here, they put a clause in here that totally kills the first thing. This is what good lawyers do. Let me rephrase. This is what competent lawyers do. So in this bill, watch this now. This is what the legislators are not paying attention to. They put the language in, make sure non-U.S. citizens cannot work the polls at the precincts. Guess where more people vote, more today than before? They vote through the vote by mail. Let me ask you, I'm just going to ask you a question. Given how you've seen this bill written so far, I'm just going to, you may not have written this, I'm just going to ask, you just guess. How many of you think that the requirement to keep non-U.S. citizens out of the precincts when people vote in person, how many of you think that they put that same check and balance to prevent non-U.S. citizens from working the vote by mail? How many of you think this bill has that? It's not there. It's not there. Does this require a rocket scientist to think of this? Is it reasonable to say if you're not going to let U.S. citizens, non-U.S. citizens work the polls at precinct, don't let them work the vote by mail? Is that reasonable? Do you think that should be the case? Why is it not in the bill? Purposeful. So this is what we need this bill to be changed to. Representative, this lady, I can't ignore it. I have to read what she's putting up here. Representative Malika, amend HB 1381. Fix the vote by mail citizen loophole. No proof of citizenship to vote by mail. Amend HB 1381 now. Only U.S. citizens should vote. I'm taking the time to read this because this is all about you, the folks in Lee County, because Representative Malika is your legislator. Clean voter rolls. Strengthen HB 1381 before it's too late. Now, my friends, I know I feel like I'm a preacher because I keep saying we're going to wrap up and then I keep talking and I need to stop that. I've already heard from legislators that they're saying, hey, take a chill pill. Don't get so worked up. we can always do this next year. Have you guys heard that before? And when they say that, does it ever happen?
Free beer tomorrow.
Free beer.
After the first date, he said, I'll call you. The grip on power gets tighter.
Double speak.
Both parties are rapidly advocating for vote by mail activity. We have 75% of the voters in this county casting their ballots vote by mail, and that's representative of the entire state. The election is over before early voting begins.
This gentleman is saying that both parties are rapidly calling for more vote by mail. He said that 75% of the vote in this state is done through vote by mail, and he is, from what I can hear what I'm saying, he does not want these reforms to be put off till tomorrow. They have to be done today. They have to be done now. This lady has her hand up.
I think that if you're going to homestead in the state of Florida and save all that money, you need to get back down here and vote.
This lady says, if you're going to homestead in Florida and save all that money, you have to come back here and vote in person.
My father did. Every year he came back to Siesta Key to vote, and that was what he wanted to do.
She further went on to refer to her father, who would come back to Siesta Key every time there was an election and vote, and he thought nothing of it. It was a privilege and an honor for him to do that. So, this is what the people of Lee County want. So there is so much more that we can go over. What we're going to do now is we're going to pause here. I would like for you, the folks that are watching on the live stream, and for the folks here, to get more information, please go to leerepublican.com and or go to defendflorida.com. Thank you. Defendflorida.org. Defendflorida.org. You know, I said that I was going to wind it up, but there's something on the screen here that you have to see. You have to see this, guys. So, oh boy, how much time? Okay, all right. That's true. But don't say that. Don't say that. Okay. Okay, so the legislators, see, everyone in this room here seems very, very clear on what the problem is. The legislators are asking us, you guys are all upset about these issues. Are non-U.S. citizens even on the voter rolls? You're clear, they are not. Further, they are not clear. Oh, okay. These two ladies are saying, no, they are clear. They're just telling us. They're lying. So this here is actual data from Miami-Dade. For those of you who can't read this from where you're sitting, these are the number of non-U.S. citizens that were removed from the voter rolls. If they were removed, does that mean that they were there originally? Yes. So here's the data. This is not from Defend Florida. It's not from Lee Republican. It's not from some other. This is from Miami-Dade's own database. Next question. Well, but did they really vote? Did these non-U.S. citizens really vote? Is this really an issue? Is what the legislators look us in the eye and say. How many of these non-U.S. citizens voted at least once? 29% in one county. This is unacceptable, and the fact that a legislator is not clear on this is abhorrent. It is inexcusable, and a legislator that is not aware of this must be primaried. Ugh. It's just... If that's not election interference, what is? So, my friends, before I have a heart attack, I'm going to stop. And we're going to end this. I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Bob. He's going to make some additional comments. So, first of all, please stay here because there's going to be useful information here. I want to thank Stern American for putting this out together. Yeah, you can take that out. I also want to thank the flag shirt, theflagshirt.com that sponsored the Stern American live stream. Please visit theflagshirt.com. Please support the work that that company is doing to get the word out. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up. And the real work begins after today. After today, you have to call. We actually have some, what do we have on handouts? Do we have that?
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to ask everybody. Did everyone get it?
Let's actually distribute that.
Yeah.
Let me have one of those. So, thank you guys. So, a handout is being provided for those of you that are watching this on the...
I guess they weren't done in color, though.
No problem.
The charts aren't going to be color coded.
Copy that. Okay.
Your website.
Okay.
Right.
So, for those of you that are watching this on the live stream, guys, please take. We have enough, so make sure we don't want to leave this room with any of those copies. If you already have one, take one to give to someone else. Share with your REC club. Share with your Republican club, your REC group, your grassroots groups, your coffee, whatever. Just share this with people, because people don't have to be election integrity folks to realize that non-U.S. citizens should not be canceling out their vote. Pretty straightforward. Now, on this handout, I want to just go over this handout. I think there's some people at the back also who are looking for some. On this handout, there are going to be a couple of things. One of you guys just grab a handful and give it to the three people at the end. Over there, right there at the end. We've got a bunch of people at the very end. Let's get that out there. So, for those of you that are watching this online, simply go to defendflorida.org. All of the material that's been handed out here is on the home page there. So a couple of things. One, as we mentioned, let me have your attention, folks. Let me have your attention, please. We want you to ask for HB 1381 to be amended to align with President Trump's directives. Please call and email Representative Jenna Perkins-Mullica. She's a very smart legislator. She is reading what we're providing with her. You have to make sure that she knows that there are a lot of people here that want these changes. This is her district. If she hears from one or two of you, that's going to make one difference. If she hears from hundreds of you, that's a whole different ballgame. Does that make sense? Yeah. This is a quantity game, a quantity game. Phone number is there. Next thing, we want you to also go on X. Oh, the lady has a hand up. I'm reminding you that one call means 200 people, meaning if you call, Representative Mullica's office understands that 200 people feel the same way you do. So the importance of your call is very, very important. Next thing, on defendflorida.org, there is a list of all of the people that are on the next committee. Do you remember when we spoke about this earlier, that I said that a bill must be presented to a committee? Do you remember me saying that? Well, we think that this bill will be put in front of the State Affairs Committee. We don't know that yet because they haven't released the agenda. So if you go to page 2 of this document, you will see the email addresses, the X handle, X/Twitter, of each of the members of the State Affairs Committee. They need to hear from you. They need to hear the same thing that was on these signs. That's what they need to hear from you on. If you do it on X, not only will they see it, but all of the people that are on X will see that that's what you want from them. Does that make sense? Yes. Blow it up in terms of volume of people calling, emailing, and posting. You're not sure what to say when you... What is that? The second page has a list of all of the people in the State Affairs Committee. Next thing, when you call, if you're asking yourself, what do I say when I call, leave a message? The talking points are also listed here. Yes, Mick?
There's two names everybody should recognize on that list for community affairs. Adam Botana and Mike Gianlombardo. They are two of our representatives right here in this county.
Two names that everyone should recognize, and that is Adam Botana
and Mike Gianlombardo.
And Mike Gianlombardo. They are from... And who? Okay, so the reason that Mick is highlighting those two names is that from your county, they need to be the first persons you reach out to. 110%. So that's the first page. Make sense? Okay. Second page is what? The list of people. Their phone numbers, their X handles for you to call.
I'm made aware there's some errors now.
Copy that. Okay, good. Third page. What's on the third page? Remember that chart that showed President Trump's requirements in the left column, and in the second column it showed whether or not 1381 meets it or doesn't meet it? Do you remember that? That's on the third page. So you can have that right with you. The page after that is the same thing. The page after that is the same thing. And that concludes your 5-page handout. And now I'm going to turn it over to Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Raj. Everybody give Raj a big round of applause. So while I was tracking some of these bills with my buddy Trent Wayman from Manatee County, we were on the phone and we were both on our computers, and we started noticing something, that they're playing a whack-a-mole game. Or we believe that we detected it. We're not entirely sure what we were looking at. But we noticed that the bill tracking, I think we really noticed it better on the Senate side, on the Senate website, which will track House bills and Senate bills, where it would be in committee. They would lay that bill on the table under Rule 7.18a. So I had to look up Florida House Rules 7.18a, and it's the procedure when you're going to replace that bill with a different bill. So they tabled 1381 one day, 2 weeks ago. Laid it on the table for another bill. 3 hours later, 1383 was in committee. When it was over, it was laid on the table. For what, I don't know. 1414, SB 1414, I don't know. Are they playing a whack-a-mole shell game? Because that's what it appears to be. So Trent and I decided that we were going to start maybe putting together county by county, and I've talked to Raj and a lot of his people, and they're on board. So what we're trying to do is get a team from every county willing to adopt a bill, track it, read through the text of it, make a list of anything that sticks out, report that back to the whole group by email. We'll have a group email string going. What? Oh God, what? There's only 20 counties that are going to be involved in it. I mean, it's going to be the captains of those 20 counties. There's going to be 20 people on an email. Not going to be 6,000 people on an email. So tracking the bill, reading the bill, noting the text problems with it that we need to look for and try and change. And we have very limited time. Like this project will have to be done in the next week. And then tracking it every day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, going back to the Senate website. If you're adopting, I think Raj and his team have 1831 or 1381 covered, so we'll leave that one alone. But here in Lee County, we have 4001. It's not related to election integrity, but it's related to single-member district, and I think probably a good number of us are not for that. Maybe a few of you are, but the predominance are not for that. There's another bill that we need to be aware of, and that's 1249, and they say it may not grow legs, but that's going to give the chairman of the parties the ability, after the June qualification period, but before the primary, to go in and look at who qualified to be on the primary and say, nope, I'm zapping that person, nope, I'm zapping that person, I'm zapping that person. Not just for precinct and state committee men and women, but for any office.
And it doesn't matter if you paid the $11,000, $12,000, $20,000 qualifier.
Correct. Sorry.
Elections gets to keep that.
Correct.
The Republican or Democrat Party gets to keep that. You just get swept off.
Okay. So we would really no longer have parties, right? We would have 2 guys, one for the Democrats and one for the Republicans. Whoever they say is going to be your candidates, that's it. Okay? Now, no Republican should be for Evan Power having that much power. Okay? Evan Almighty needs to go. Who also, by the way, works for David Rambaugh and is a huge lobbyist himself. All right, so I have a lot of slides here. Most of them came from the House tracking site. I actually prefer the Senate tracking side. And you can see down there almost towards the end, laid on table under Rule 718A on 4-3. 3 hours later, so was 1383, which I think is what that one was laid on the table to become. So they're just like bounce ping pong, or something. So that's what we need is a team. I know Bob and Barb Walter work with Defend Florida, so I'm going to ask if they would afterwards stay behind and maybe collect names of anybody that's interested in adopting a bill. Okay? It's going to be a short process, a couple weeks, probably tops. Well, 3 weeks tops because we're done on May 2nd. But most of it will be all next week.
How many bills are
I forget. thousands. 3,500, I heard. No, not for us to do. No, we don't have to track all 3,500. No. I don't know. You need to help me identify. I don't know all the bills that are even problematic. So that's another thing. In Lee County, 4,001 and 1,249. Those are the two biggest ones important to me outside of election integrity. I would have to check with probably Carl or Dave up there and see, or Kat. Kat would know. It does. Yeah, 1249 is statewide. Correct. Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, that's my ask. That's my call to action request. Is that you meet with Bob and Barb after this meeting if you're willing to adopt a bill for a couple weeks. It's not that hard of work. Mostly you just go onto the website for that bill. You're only going to be working on your bill, and you're just going to look for those dates, what's going on, where's it going next, when is it going there. On that date, did it go through the committee, what happened in committee, and you'll just do a report back to your county captain, and then that captain will be on the call with everybody, or the email.
Per legislators in Tallahassee, they get exactly 24 hours notice before their legislation or proposed legislation is going in front of a committee.
Yep, we know.
If you want to appear in person, it's kind of like the Minutemen in the Revolution. You better have a go bag ready and your car filled with gas.
But luckily it's only a 7-hour drive from here, so nothing trivial.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so with that I want to get to a few announcements. Obviously the first one is that Bill Watch team, so get with Bob and Barb afterwards. I strongly urge everybody to register at defendflorida.org, okay, and be on the Tuesday nights. What's that, 7 o'clock?
Tuesday at 7 p.m. Also, just let the folks know that there are 5,000. For Representative Malika and everyone else, please know that this is a hot topic, and there are 5,292 people watching this live stream right now on Stone American. And the call that Bob mentioned earlier is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thank you. 7 p.m. Eastern. And, oh, good. Thank you. Right there. Please sign up on the website, because when you do that, you'll also receive a very informative newsletter. It keeps you in the loop. A lot of what we're talking about here is covered in the newsletter. Thank you, Debbie Miller, for making that happen. So please go to defendflorida.org and be part of that. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Raj. Will my PowerPoint or his?
Okay, great. So let's do that. Let's make the PowerPoint available. The recording here of everything is on the website, so you can go and listen to the recording. But if you just want the PowerPoint, we'll put it on the PowerPoint as well. And Debbie is writing that now, so we'll make sure it happens. So the question is being asked, what is the roadmap for 1381? So the 1381 has already cleared its first committee. And then remember the comment that Mick made about the whack-a-mole?
See it right at the bottom of the screen.
Oh.
After it finishes one committee, it says it's referred to that committee. Then when it's in that committee, it's as much notice as you get.
The important thing, though, is this stuff changes. It was supposed to have been directed to another committee. That got X'd, and now it's here. We don't know if this will be put on the agenda. So to answer your question, once it clears State Affairs Committee, if it passes, then it will go before the entire House. They have to pass it. And then, somewhere along the line, a Senate version has to occur. And this is you got to remember what Mick said. This is combative. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know why they do this the way they are. What I'm referring to is there was a Senate version, 1414, that was moving along. All of a sudden, 1414 disappeared. Do not know what happened. So people think, okay, we don't have to worry. But in the past, the night before, they take this, copy and paste it into the Senate. They pass it. And before anyone has time to react, it's a done deal. So this lady says this sounds purposeful. There's agreement. So regrettably, this is the MO that the Speaker of the House, Speaker Danny Perez, and President Alberton, this is the process that they are promulgating. So until these types of people are replaced, this is how we have to operate. In the meantime, bottom line, we have to be extra vigilant. Keep your eyes peeled over here. Go to defendflorida.org, and it probably will be on Lee County as well, but I know on defendflorida.org we will have updates here. As soon as it hits the committee, it will be on our website. As soon as it's put on agenda, it will be on our website. As soon as the amendments, if any, are filed, it will be on the website. So you have to be vigilant. You have to keep looking at that thing, and you have to keep doing it on a day-by-day basis. One other thing that I forgot to mention. You guys in Lee County are going to make so much insistence that these amendments get filed that we are expecting these amendments to be filed, the ones that we've been talking about this afternoon. Now, we hope that if you go back to the other, we hope that this bill will be put on the agenda here. What we hope, no, let me rephrase that. We hope the amendments to the bill be put on the agenda. We are not interested in this bill in its current form being put on the agenda. If they don't do amendments, this bill needs to not pass. It needs to be killed. But we are hoping, because of the noise you are going to make, that the amendments get put on the agenda. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, let's assume that happens. Now what? Okay. If the amendments get filed and they're put on the agenda, please do the following. Go to Tallahassee, like you guys did last week. In the meeting, you will be given an opportunity to say what you guys said here. You got to say it in 3 minutes or 1 minute, but you have a chance to say that. So do that, because when those legislators see how many people are there, if they're 1 or 2 people, that's one thing, but if they're 10, 20, 30 people, that's a whole different thing. So they need to see you, they need to hear you. Now, most of you won't be able to drive there. I get it. So you have to fill out a form, and on that form you have to say, I support the amendment. Does that make sense? Do you support the bill?
No.
Do you support the bill?
No.
Do you support the bill?
No.
If the amendment is good, maybe you'll support the amendment. No, maybe you'll support the amendment. So I'm glad you said. So there's a document. Okay, so let's just say this is the bill, HB 1381. You do not support this.
No.
However, another document, see, this is a different document, will be put on the website, and this other document is just the amendment. Does that make sense? So you can oppose the bill and support the if it's good. So our volunteers will assess the amendment. They'll let you know if it complies with President Trump's directive or if it complies with the deep state, the software vendor, the incumbent, the people that if it complies with everyone except us, we'll try to assess that and put that on the website. So what I'm asking is go to the website every day, make sure you're tracking this, and then fill out the forms on supporting the amendment if it's good and opposing the bill. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. How to do that will be on the website. The instructions on how to do it will be on the website. What you need to do is get yourself to the website. Mick.
Like I said, I've got stacked cards over there. I'm looking at going up whenever they're going to put this in front of committee. And just so you know, everybody in the room. Somebody said, and they were accurate, every call represents 200 voters.
Okay.
Every person standing in front of them represents 10,000. I used to work for a representative in North Carolina and a senator, and that is exactly how they both viewed it. Every person standing in front of that committee represents 10,000 voters. That's big.
Problem is, Speaker Perez and President Albrecht represent 10 million.
14.
So get the card from Mick. It's right there. This is what it looks like. Get his card and collaborate with him. And, questions?
I'd like to make a suggestion. I'm here from Pinellas County. And
Wow.
We've done this. And one of the suggestions that we got that I think is valuable is most people are very shy about calling someone you don't know and leaving a message. You need to write out your little elevator string. And if you don't want to talk to anybody, call them after hours, call them on the weekend, and leave your message. You won't have to interact with anyone, and they will get the message. And just as you heard, every one of those calls, in their mind, is worth 200 people. And that's very effective.
And call is much better than email. Because email, I can scroll past an email or past a phone call. I on my phone.
So the comment was write out what you're going to say so that when you leave the message, it's concise and it's very powerful. So after Pinellas hosted their version of this town hall on the 30th, we got 2 amendments. Those 2 amendments that were favorable, we got it 24 hours after that town hall meeting because of all the people in Pinellas made a huge, huge, huge noise. So the baton is now passed over to you because it's out of Pinellas' committee. It's now in Lee County's committee. Someone, yes?
I just have a question. How do you know which number is the companion bill that goes with each of the House bills? Like when you hear of a bad bill.
It's in here. You'll see up at the top, bill history is highlighted. Right next to it is a tab called related bills. So then there's bill text, amendments, analysis, vote history, citations. All those are tabs across the top that brings up a whole nother, there's a ton of information, probably way more than the team that we're working on needs to worry about, but you can play around in that all you want. That's why I like the Senate website's tools way better than the House's.
Yes.
One thing that we did was, when you're writing an email, in the subject line of your email,
Debbie.
When you're writing your email, in the subject line of your email, put HB 1381 does not comply with Trump EO, which is executive order. So they see that on there. Everybody does the same thing. That was really helpful. And also, if you waive in opposition for the bill. So waive in opposition is I can't be there, but I want to let them know what I feel. And so there's a form you can fill out. It's on the House website, and you can
First you have to register as if you're going to go there and speak.
Right.
Then
So.
you hit another button that says, I'm not going to go, I'm going to send it.
And it's very tricky because you say opponent, and then you add, and then you go back, and it asks you to add again, but it changes it back to proponent. So you have to change it back to opponent. All these instructions are on the defendflorida.org website, and it will be in the newsletter from this week. That'll be on Tuesday's newsletter. I'll put both pages in there. So you can, and you also have to do it for the amendments too. So make sure that it doesn't change your vote back to a proponent from opponent. So that's really helpful to do those two things.
Like the machines, exactly, just like the machine. Yes, sir.
Is that off of the website also?
That's on the House website.
So the question being asked is, if you're not going to Tallahassee, where is this form that you have to fill out? And Bob just answered it. It's on the House website. And if you go to defendflorida.org, the instructions for how to do that will be there. And likely a lot of the stuff that's on our website will also be on leerepublican.com. leerepublican.com. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people use the waiver form, the waiver, because they get up there and they're scared. They're afraid to talk to 22 or 24 or 28.
They're afraid to talk to the members of the committee. And they literally sit in the back of the room, fill out one of these forms, and it gets read off up there. They're present, but they're just not comfortable speaking in front of an audience. That happens too.
Yes, sir.
The amendments, tomorrow morning I'll make my call to Jen. Tomorrow, I'm sorry, I'm going to follow instructions on call Jenna tomorrow morning. What amendments, where do I find the amendment references to tell her what I want her to support? That's the question.
Great. The question is, when you call, thank you for the question, by the way. The question is, when you call Representative Jenna Persons Mullica, the question is, where are the amendments that you would like her to amend to?
Right, support.
To support. And so, let me put this on the screen. Yeah, there we go. Are you done with your part?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Let's hold.
Why don't you finish that?
Yeah, I just have a couple more announcements to make, so let me just get through those, and then we'll just open up Q&A, and we're done with everything else. So, real quick, I just wanted to show you on leerepublican.com, and you can go up to the menu here, political issues, election integrity, okay? We will have a link to the video from today from Raj's channel. I also currently have a contact list, which is your page 2, but I found some mistakes. Some more were just pointed out to me, so this way it'll be updated. And I've tried to make these hyperlinked, but it's not working on my phone. I have to click and hold, like the phone number, copy it, go into my phone app, and paste it into the number for it to call. I will get that fixed, but more importantly, I want to get this document onto Raj's web page. That way, if there's any changes, and then I'll link to it on mine instead of it being on mine. But for right now, it is on mine. But Raj, you and I are going to work to get it onto defendflorida.org. All right. You'll have to know your representatives. I mean, you can look up the whole list of representatives.
The question is, how do you know who is your representative? In general, it's super easy. Go to Google and just type in, who is my Florida representative? You do that, and it will then walk you through to a place where you can punch in your address, and it'll show you. Now, with regard to the handout, a lot of the people on that list on page 2, remember we asked you to contact the people on that committee? Remember that? Page 2? We understand that a lot of people on that list are not your representatives. That's okay. They're on a committee, and because they're on a committee, they have to work on behalf of the whole state. Call them, email them, post them, all the above.
All right, 2 more announcements, and please, they're very important because the last one is somebody needs your help. They need you to sign a petition. But before I get on that, tomorrow in Sarasota, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Death himself, is coming to Florida. That's a risky move, isn't it? Very daring. And our very own Lee County, Dr. Joseph Sansone, will be one of the guest speakers at an event a few hours later, not tied to the Dr. Fauci event, but we'll be there in the morning to protest Fauci, And then 11 to 4, there's quite a few guests you can see on the right. I don't have this on LeeRepublican.com yet, but I will before I go to bed tonight with all the details. If you have any questions, Ed Fisher, where's Ed? Where are you hiding, Ed? Okay. Ed knows a little bit about this. He and I are traveling up there tomorrow, so see Ed after the meeting, and he can either get your name if you want more information, or he can send you the information. You can find it on our event calendar tonight on LeeRepublican.com. What's that?
Yes.
Yep. And Dr. Ladipo, Florida's Surgeon General. Okay, David Morshall, I don't know if a lot of you know him. David, you got 1 minute, okay?
Mike, David. I'm going to make it quick.
Thank you. All right, my name's David Morshall. Election integrity is extremely important for me. I went to prison for election integrity. I was in federal custody for 2 years. I don't know if you know, but there was this really big protest in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. I don't know. Have you guys heard about that? Yeah. All right, so I was there. I was there with a group called the Oath Keepers, and the government spent over $10 million to try to put me and nine other Oath Keepers in prison. And
right there. Good. Thank you.
all right. Okay, so they put us in prison, okay? And, President Trump, all along, he was saying if you were violent, you might not get pardoned. If you were nonviolent, yeah, you're off the hook. Well, none of the Oath Keepers were charged with any kind of violent crime, all right? We were all charged with thought crimes, conspiracy, sedition, okay? When actually came time to pardon, Trump pardoned everybody except for Oath Keepers and Proud Boys accused of sedition. So I was actually not pardoned, even though I committed no violence. I didn't encourage any violence. I didn't yell and scream in the Capitol or anything like that. I was in the Capitol for 11 minutes and left right after of my own accord. You can go to davidinnocent.com and you can see the video of me 11 minutes in the Capitol. Is completely boring. I'm sorry, but nothing's happening. All right, But look, Trump's already pardoned one of the men on the Oath Keeper trial, Thomas Caldwell. We're really hoping that he's going to go ahead and pardon everybody else. He promised to look at it. I need 50 signatures today. I need to walk out with 50 signatures today. So I'm going to put some things over here.
We've got to pack up the room, so let's meet at a table. This table's out in the courtyard, right?
Okay. So look. Please, it's the easiest good deed you'll do. Name, address, sign. I'll take care of the rest. I'm going to stuff and seal. I stuffed and sealed 36 this morning, okay? I want to do another 50 today. Please help me out, okay? Thank you very much.
59 seconds. Good job, David. Okay, that's the end of our presentation. So now I want to go back to any Q&A. And Raj, I'm going to hand it back to you.
You could give me the quote. So the question is, where are the amendments? And they will be on the website. I'm putting them now, and they'll be on the website. They'll show up in about an hour. Okay. So just go to defendflorida.org, and it'll say, here are the amendments we're looking for to be filed.
And those are the ones you want her to support?
Yes.
Okay.
And those are the ones that she already has. Okay. So it's not new information. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next question. Yes, sir.
Don't forget one thing. Amendments can make bills better, and they can also make them worse.
So you want to be looking for look at it yourself, and look for a thumbs up. Our team will do our best. Our team of volunteers will do our best to give you thumbs up or thumbs down. So act accordingly. And obviously the best thing is, now that you've been in this meeting, look at it yourself, make up your own informed decision. Yeah, very good. Thank you for that. Next question. Sorry for multitasking. I'm just wanting to make this. I put this here right now. Another question? Yes, ma'am. Debbie. Oh, sorry. There you go. We're still streaming.
Bernie Jacques is writing an amendment to 1381 that we think we're going to like. But it's important, if your representatives do something that we like, you need to let them know that and thank them. That's very important.
It's going to look like this. Here are the amendments. Just click on that button. It'll be there in an hour. Yes, yes. How you doing?
Is it possible to find out Dominion's donations to governors, House and Senate people, a way to know the money that they're getting from Dominion?
So you want to respond to that?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools that you can do on this. I believe it's on the Secretary of State site somewhere for searching PACs and donations of candidates and stuff. But the thing a lot of people don't realize, that money probably travels through 16 PACs before it gets to its end route. So good luck figuring that out, because it's called commingled funds. How are you going to, once it goes from one PAC to the other, and then they donate to them, and how do you know that that's how it got there? That's why they do it that way. There's no way to catch them at that.
Shall we begin to wind down? Okay. I'm done. So thank you very much, everyone.
I'll answer any questions.
Thank you for everyone. Is there any other questions? We want to start winding this down. Yes, ma'am. Very good suggestion. Yeah. So a couple of quick things you asked. The Senate Bill 1414 appears to be dead because it's not been read in the committee. We don't know. Remember that at the last minute, it could be revived and activated. So you have to be vigilant. So my request, because when you're, I want you to all please not just take these actions yourself, but also share these actions with people in your world, in your life, your friends, your neighbors, people who agree that we shouldn't have non-U.S. citizens voting. Share this with them. So given that, I want to just keep it very, very simple. The person you want to speak to is Representative Jenna Persons-Mullica. I wouldn't, at this point, worry about the Senate version, because we have to make sure that are you from Lee County?
No, but she's not my state rep.
Doesn't matter.
Which county are you from? So I'm makes sense. Yeah, I neglected to mention that. So it's a very good question. Representative Mullica is the sponsor for the bill, and right now she's our best chance to amend it. So for that reason, regardless of where you are listening to this, please contact her. Now the other question you asked is, what's the best way to get my point across? I would look at the page 1, and underneath there it says talking points. I would just read that in your own version, in your own voice. First one says, Representative Mullica, if I was Mullica, I would say, ensure only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote, allowed to work on vote-by-mail processing. Great. Deliver that. Remove non-U.S. citizens who are already on the voter roll. Deliver that. Keep and expand manual audits, and do not hide election reports from the public. Very simple. Make sure you've got a copy of this. Take a picture of it. Text it to your friends. Share it on your Facebook. Share it on your text groups with people that are like-minded. My friends, this is not controversial. You're not being a right-wing extremist just because you only want U.S. citizens to vote. You're being someone who has common sense, like the gentleman said earlier. This is exactly what our country needs, and most of all, this is exactly what the President of the United States has made abundantly clear. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, we're going to adjourn this meeting. I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for letting other people know about what you covered today and taking the actions. Like that gentleman in the red shirt said yet a few minutes ago, he is going to be calling tomorrow. It's already on his calendar. It's already on his head. And I am certain, just looking at him, that is going to happen. So that's what you want to do as well. So thank you guys very much. Say again? Take a bill to monitor, and to do that, see this young man right here. This.
Never saw you
Listen up, guys. Listen up, guys. Listen up.
But listen, we don't want an imperial presidency. We want an active Congress looking out for our rights. It has to say that out of the House of Representatives, which is a wonderful companion to what President Trump has done with his executive order. So when you're talking about messaging, don't just cite a president because he's not a legislator. The House of Representatives is, and or the Senate is. And then we have robust legislation coming out of Congress backing our view of how elections ought to be run with Texas and Florida.
Well said.
So keep that.
Well said. Are you in a group right now in your county?
I'm in Election Integrity Network nationally.
National. How about in your county?
Yeah, well, this is my county.
Oh, good. Okay. Get plugged in. Get plugged in. All right. We need your voice. We need your voice.
We need him to join the assembly.
We need your voice. All right. Live stream. We're going to end the live stream. Thank you again, friends, for watching this. Thank you, John Locke, for making this happen, and Connie, so appreciated. Thank you for the people that drove across from our different counties to be here.